Welcome to Keeping It Real with Angela and
Allison and
John.
Thanks for joining us today on Keeping It Real with Angela, Allison, and John. So today's topic, we are talking about short-term rentals, aka Airbnbs, and what you really need to know when it comes time to getting insurance. Today we have with us John DeForest, Senior Account Executive with RSS Insurance Agency out of Kingston. Hi, John. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me.
hi, John. Welcome.
Hey, Allison.
So let's get right into it because we got a lot to talk about today. And people don't realize that when it comes time to decide you want to Airbnb your home, that you actually might not be covered with your current insurance policy. So I'm really excited that we have you on today's show because I think this is really, really important, especially giving so many properties today and so many buyers that are looking to supplement mortgage and et cetera, and make a little bit extra money on the side by Airbnb-ing their homes. So let's just go right into it. One of the things I want to ask you, John, what are the first two major concerns for a short-term rental that you see?
Well, as far as protection goes and people in their homes, there's really the two concerns that you could run into is obviously you want to protect your property and your belongings and your actual dwelling itself. And then the other concern, which unfortunately has become much more prevalent these days, is any sort of liability for an injury or property damage to one of the people staying on your property, or even extending to your neighbor. Say that maybe one of your renters has an incident and ends up hurting your neighbor's property or something like that. And basically protection against any litigation against yourself for having other people staying in your home.
Yeah. John, do the hosting platforms provide coverage?
So some do, some more than others. Like for instance, Airbnb has a pretty good policy in place for you and to protect you, and it's actually primary to any of your insurance. However, that being said, I always say, if it comes down to it, push comes to shove, who do you want to make sure that you're covered, a company that's representing you or a company that's representing, in essence, Airbnb or the hosting platform? It's always good to have somebody in your corner. And then you have to be very careful because some of these platforms don't have any coverage, and they afford you no protection against a lawsuit for an injury, or someone leaves a faucet on in your house and you come home a day later and you have a flooded basement or flooded kitchen.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm a homeowner and I have my homeowner's insurance policy, and I decide I want to do a short-term rental out of my house. Does my homeowner's insurance policy cover an injury or damage to my property?
So there's no easy answer to that right now. However, and I'll stress this throughout here, is the best thing to do is to speak with your agent and find out what you do have. You may have a policy where they're comfortable with Airbnb, and there's definitely companies that it's a dead stop that any sort of short-term rental is not going to be covered because they consider that a business that you're running out of your home. And you have a homeowner's policy to protect your guests that aren't paying to stay there, and your family and your belongings. And when you have short-term rentals in there and you're making money, they consider it a business, and it would fall under most homeowner policy exclusions. And unfortunately, they will stick by that. And again, if you have a platform that maybe they will cover you, maybe they won't, but if they won't, then you're stuck footing the bill to fight any sort of legal action against yourself.
So how do I know if my carrier will provide coverage? Will my carrier provide coverage if I request additional coverage?
Yes, and again, it really comes down to the individual carrier. So the best thing to do is if you have an agent, just call them and tell them that, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and this is how much I'm doing it. And if that carrier is set against short-term rental, then maybe they can find you one that does. And there really aren't any out there that are just 100% okay with it and they're just going to let it slide. A lot of them just have riders or endorsements that they can put on the actual policy itself for, a little bit extra money. It is very reasonable. It's not like it's out of this world, but it will be more money, but it does extend the coverage. And then you can have the knowledge that, listen, there's not really an instance here where I'm not going to be covered. And again, it's, you don't feel like you're rolling the dice there. And then again, I hate to say it, but those big companies, relying on them to cover you for insurance, at the end of the day, who knows if they're going to stand by you or not.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up. So we've been out on showings and we've had some clients who are like, yeah, I want an Airbnb. And we've told them, you probably going to need a supplemental insurance for a short-term rental. And they've said, oh no, I was told I could get landlord insurance. I have a landlord policy. I'm fine. Is that the same thing as a short-term rental policy, a landlord policy?
No. So a landlord policy or a dwelling fire is for long-term rentals, which generally is like a 6-month or longer. And most of them require a lease as well. And so no, that's going to have the same outcome as a homeowner's policy because they want to know who's coming and going. And obviously a consistent renter who has all of their belongings in a property is going to be a little more attentive to what's going on there, and they're going to take care of the property much more than a short-term rental who knows they have a deposit and maybe can leave things not the way they found them, and that could be a problem for you as the homeowner or renter. When you come in there to check on it, which could be days later, and it could be a big problem.
Yeah. John, talk to us about the costs associated with these types of policies. Are they typically more expensive?
Not necessarily, and in a sense of let's put it this way: you could maybe you're in an outdated policy, and that company says we don't want anything to do with Airbnb. You could go to your agent or a different agent, and you could say, "Hey, listen, I'm looking for something that includes this endorsement, so I can rent it." And you never know; it could be cheaper actually because a different company could be a better fit for you than one that maybe you've been with for a long time. So I think the best thing, and again, it's a lot of negatives here. I did not meant to scare people. This is a world that we live in now. So it is becoming more commonplace. And the companies are evolving, unfortunately, not as fast as I'd like to see them, but there are options out there. And again, your agent is there as your liaison between you and these billion-dollar companies. So rely on them and the knowledge that they have and the resources they have. And they'll guide you, hopefully the right way.
Great. Well, thank you. And this is really informative. I mean, there's so much to know when it comes to insurance. And then when you're looking at short-term insurance, I mean, this is like a whole nother level. John, tell us a little bit about you, your company, and how everyone can contact you if they have additional questions, or maybe they want you to give them an estimate on the policy.
Yeah, of course. We're RSS Insurance Agency. We're right uptown Kingston on the corner of Washington and North Front. Happy to have anybody stop by. Our website is also great, provides just a quick forms you can fill out. And that's rssagency.com, very easy. And then also we're available via phone, just like the old days, 845-481-4036. And we have people that answer the phone immediately. And, usually we can get you something turned around definitely by the next day, but generally same day. And we have dozens of carriers, so we're not stuck with just one or two. So we have something that'll fit anybody. And, you know, we're obviously not into wasting anybody else's time or our own. So we're going to be pretty matter of fact and, you know, straight to the point. And like I said, we want to make sure everybody's covered out there, because there's no, you know, nobody's winning when, you know, something happens and maybe it is a legitimate and somebody does get hurt and then for some reason they can't get paid either. So, you know, it's really about just making sure that the risk is transferred correctly and that these companies are doing what they're supposed to do and backing you guys up as their consumer.
Absolutely. So long story short, the best thing to do is consult an agent like yourself.
Absolutely. And with homeowners compared to auto, you know, there's not too many companies that just write homeowners without an agent involved. So most people have one. Like I said, it's something to bring up to them. Or again, if it's something that you need help with, we're here to help as well.
Great. Well, thank you, John, so much. And
Thanks,
just to let everybody know, who are we? We are the Angela Lanuto team here at Coldwell Banker Village Green Realty. I'm Angela Lanuto, licensed associate real estate broker. And with me is my amazing team partner, Allison Morelle, associate real estate broker. And we help to guide, we match Hudson Valley properties with your lifestyle. We do real estate, commercial, residential, and luxury, and we're here to help educate you and guide you on one of the biggest purchases or sales of your lifetime. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at angelalanuto.com. Thank you for joining us today on Keeping It Real. And thank you, John, for joining us, because this was really informative. And I think that this is a topic that really a lot of people don't know or don't even think to talk about. So we're looking forward to more topics with you in the future on other things insurance. And thank you again for joining us. We'll see you next time on Keeping It Real with Angela and
Allison and John.
And John, thank you. You guys are the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.